Daniel Roberts,
And I'm Roger Price.
and you're listening to Artifacts from Highline, where we'll be bringing you stories about some of the artifacts and exhibits we have at the Highland Heritage Museum.
And some of the artifacts we have in the collections room also that are of interest to maybe different people. So that's we're going to try and introduce some new topics to the museum.
So thank you for tuning in. I hope you find some of these interesting stories and enjoy.
Good afternoon. I'm Roger Price, and I'm in the radio booth here at the Highline Heritage Museum with Daniel today, and we are going to talk about a few of the past. They're not really pioneers, but they were people that stood out in the community of Highline, whether it was in from Des Moines or White Center or uh, SeaTac or McMicken Heights, Tree Point. But anyway, yeah. So today, Daniel's going to talk a little bit about a family from up in the area of around 128th and Ambom, up where the Standering Hospital used to be. It's all changed up there right now. I know they're doing a lot of building up there. So anyway, the hospital is completely gone. This was been gone for many years now, but whatever. So Daniel, what do you think about that family that you're going to discuss here?
Yeah, so it was an interview done for a couple, Gene and Helen Schmieden. They had moved to Shorewood in 1945, where their family had decided on the spot that that's the lot that they were looking for. And when they'd arrived, there was already the Fafmans, Ella and Les Roberts living in the area as well. She had mentioned that there was this old Miss Markey who was in her 80s at the time, and that she would take the elevator to the beach. So, she remembered a number of people that kind of just lived in the areas. The Schmiedens themselves had their children not long after moving to the area, and because of it, made connections with the Fafman family when Fafman contacted them because she had a 6-month-old daughter, and she wanted to help them, so she provided a bassinet for their expected child, and would join them for walks after the child was born. So I imagine that's probably where a friendship would have been born, just spending time with your neighbors. And they would walk the gravel roads. She mentioned that the Fafmans were already established when they arrived, and mentioned that they had a bulldozer that they would use to help make the roads. And I believe you'd mentioned that before.
Oh, I might have. Yeah, there were people that had tractors and they would put a blade on them and help uh, carve out some roads, and then they would come along and maybe gravel later. There aren't very many paved roads back in those days, but so.
Huh. So it was being kind of using some ingenuity to help make some roads. Uh, but the family also got help from the Christie family's kids, who would help babysit. And I imagine that was maybe a nice, easy paying job for the kiddos. She had some good memories with the Christie family, who would invite them over for Christmas parties and would decorate their homes while with all the neighbors involved. She mentioned that the family had lost one of their sons in World War II and had a stained glass window installed at the Fauntleroy Church in his
Oh,
memory.
yeah, very nice.
She also sounded like she really liked the Christie daughter, Sally, who taught special education and made use of what was at the time new computer technology. Helena also seemed to be involved in getting a kindergarten established in the area. She mentions that she got the idea when she read a newspaper about war housing units that were going to be dismantled and put up for sale in I think it is SF, so I think it might have been San Francisco, unless there's an SF in this area.
No.
But either way, she called the local government office and discussed her area's need for a kindergarten. With the help of someone named Bill Mosher or Mosher, uh, he was able to get her onto the school board meetings.
I probably was Bill Mosier.
Mosher, okay, I
Yeah.
apologize for the mispronunciation, but yeah, so they she was able to go to the school board meetings and discuss the idea. She did get a little bit of pushback with schools uh, claiming that other schools might do the same, and what she said was more power to them. She thought, if that's a good idea, if they think it's a good idea, why not use it? Either way, they were able to place the building at the school if they took responsibility for maintenance, hiring staff, and everything else to keep it, which made, and in order to do that, they made use of local fathers to prep it for fall that year.
Oh.
I mean, I guess that's a pretty easy thing for the school. It's like, if you do everything, okay, we'll take it. We'll take that. They apparently did landscaping. They added new lighting, flooring, and a bathroom to make sure it was good to go. But they were also able to save up money for the new building and get the kindergarten for the price of $1,500 for the unit and donations that would cover the costs of moving the building. She made sure to credit Mosher in saying that he was a big part of getting the building, as he had children of his own, and that was probably kind of some of his. He already had kids, so he had understood the feeling.
Oh, of course.
Helen was also part of a committee that was involved in hiring a new teacher for the kindergarten, where they first had one teacher that only lasted about a year until they were later replaced from someone she remembered that their name was Miss Whitman or Whithen. Whitham, there we are. To pay her, they did all sorts of things like bake sales to cover the costs of a $250 a month salary, which I guess at the time might have been sufficient. Absolutely
Oh,
not now.
no, it wouldn't be very good nowadays, but
I imagine that that might have also been kind of a side job, perhaps. But either way, um, I read a little bit more about this couple, and they had some other interesting things about them. Gene, Helen's husband, worked for Boeing for 40 years. He had met Helen at UW and married her in 1942. And like I had mentioned earlier, they moved to Shorewood in 1945. They did end up moving away for a time in 1964 when Boeing transferred him to New Orleans in order for him to help for the Saturn missile project for 2.5 years. So, I mean, you know, he didn't talk very much in the interview, but he seemed to have an interesting life himself.
uh-huh.
But after which he had bought and managed an apartment at Lacey for 20 years. When they retired, they moved to Seaview Terrace in West Seattle for 25 years until moving to Mercer Island in 2010 for the remainder of their lives. He and Helen also took advantage of Helen's job as a travel agent in 1966 to travel the world right through into their 90s. This would They would also make a trip to Hawaii every year to escape the rainy Seattle winters.
Oh, sure.
Uh, And one last thing about Helen was she also served as a Girl Scout leader. She would volunteer at Sam during her time at Lacey. So, she was a very active in the community, it would sound like.
Oh, yes, yeah. Well, that was very interesting. Yeah. Well, that was neat because we do have a lot of interesting oral histories here that are recorded in the museum. And if anybody would like to read those, there's always opportunities. I'm not sure what day uh, they can come in and use the collections room to read these oral histories, but yeah. Yes, they're fascinating to read about what went on before Burien really got rolling, and which was probably in the 50s mostly. And I'd also like to talk a little bit about uh, Robert Sealey, who was actually he was the principal at Highline while I was there. He was principal there at Highline from about 19, I believe, 61 to 66. He left just before my senior year. I think he went on to become the superintendent of Highline District. But yeah, uh, he had quite an interesting growing up. Him and his wife graduated from Cheney, Eastern Washington in Cheney at Eastern Washington College over in Eastern Washington. But so they actually, when they graduated in, I believe it was around oh, 49, and then they the two of them hitchhiked out to Seattle from there, and then they kind of settled in this area. Bob wanted to become a teacher and also maybe a football coach, and so he applied at the Highline schools. I think he applied at several of the districts back then, and the Highline came through, and they hired both him and his wife. So Bob got to start out at I believe it might have been Puget Sound junior high, which was brand new school at that time. So, and back then they were even doing double shifts for kids that would go to morning classes or in the afternoon. The school district was growing pretty rapidly, and Puget Sound was the first of the junior highs to be built. So it was a lot of kids went there, and so and they went from they were a long ways away. I know my sister went there for I think it was a year or so, and we lived right in Burien on 153rd and 4th, and so it was quite a hike to go to these some of these schools back then. But yeah, Bob went on to become a principal at Highline. I can remember him there, and then I think we had uh, Mr. I think it was Glenn Odom after that in my senior year. But uh, going back to Bob Sealey, he was involved also with excuse me, when they built when they took over the Camp Waskowitz in that also. So him and Carl Jensen were pretty influential in that endeavor. And also the student body at Highline, they raised a lot of money to get the payment to buy that Camp Waskowitz, which turned out to be a very good, a very cool place.
For sure. No, we've talked about it before. I've heard you talking about it, and I still like even when I'm doing my patrols, like in at the Museum of Light, occasionally I'll see like a couple cars that will have like a bumper sticker or something that talks about like, that they went to Camp Waskowitz. So
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's just about anybody that grew up in the Highline School District went to Camp Waskowitz in the sixth grade, starting around 1957 or 8, I believe. So, and everybody remembered it too because it was such a fun time.
yeah.
So
Oh, that's
that.
very cool. They have your own area has like its own unique like thing that all the kids like or everyone that's lived here could have like that shared experience.
Uh-huh, and they got to experience camping outdoors and different things that were part of outdoor living and the different experiences with I think we got to even put a small fish in the river there. So that was kind of cool too. So I know I had a great time. And you meet some kids from other schools because it wasn't just your school. There was about I think a combination of about three schools that would go each week, and it was just the sixth graders. So it was a lot of fun. And they had dorms and stuff, but you had a great time. So, yeah.
For sure. And that's not all Sealey's done, I'm sure. And
No, I know he was also involved in the Highliners. He was involved with that there at Highline, and they had uh, quite a bunch of singers back then. So I know that they were always looking for places to sing and perform. So I know one time even Bill Bowling, he invited the Highliners to perform at his 50th birthday party. So that was pretty fun. And then also they performed at a conference, the Western Conference of Governors. It was mostly the governors from the Western states, and they were meeting at the Olympic Hotel, and the Highliners performed there that evening. And they also got to, at that time, they got to meet Ronald Reagan. So that was a real opportunity to meet a future president and governor. So that was fun times. But yeah, he was really influential in the Highline schools for many years. But so that was kind of some of the background on what he was involved with. So I don't know, Daniel, if there's any more possibly to talk about. I know Bob was I just remember him. I don't think I ever was sent to the office when he was principal, but I know. Yeah, I think more was more trouble at in the junior high level when Ray Hinderly was the principal at Sylvester. So that's for another time though. So
then perhaps it's best that you didn't have any direct interactions with him or too many.
no. Yeah, that was the good old days. Yeah.
Well, is there anything else you'd like to talk about him for today, or?
Yes, I have also one other uh, person that I'd like to mention. In was She was involved in the community for many years, and that was Carol Sealander. She was uh, involved in well, her husband was a lawyer here in Burien, and he was on 152nd between, I think it was right about where Ambom, between Ambom and 10th Avenue. So it was along those row of buildings next to where the old Highline drug was. There were several little businesses in there, and one was Kenny Sealander's office there. So, but Carol, yes, they lived down in it was just over in Gregory Heights, and it overlooked the- this Puget Sound. It was on the hillside there. Looked, I believe it looked kind of west out towards maybe probably Vashon Island. But yes, she raised five children. They were all born, I believe, in the 1950s, and they attended Highline High School. So that was quite between the kids and other activities she was involved. She was pretty busy all the time. But yeah, she was also involved with singing because she liked to sing herself. She came from a family background that the kids learned to sing and play different instruments. So she also had quite a few siblings of her own. So they went on to become either played the instruments, piano, or different things. And but at Glendale, I know she was Glendale Lutheran. One day, Pastor Ricky, I know him because I attended the same church. He visited her house and he asked her if she would like to take over the choir there at Glendale Lutheran, and she did, and it was quite successful. But yeah, so it was just a little bit of of background from Carol Sealander and her involvement in the Highline area and the Burien area back in the, I guess it would be from about 1950 all the way up through the 2000s. So that was interesting.
Yeah, yeah, well, no. Sounds like she had her own little story too, so definitely interesting to hear about both
Oh
those of them.
yeah, that's always nice to pay, you know, say some nice things about the people that were involved in the in Burien as the years went by and the different things in the incorporation of Burien back in I think '93, I think it was. So yeah, that was pretty cool.
For sure. Well, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Well, I don't can't think of anything right at the moment, but we'll try to find someone else, a couple more to mention next time we do this, Daniel.
For sure. So, thank you folks for listening in. I hope you found something interesting. And whether it's we're talking about some of the old residents here or an artifact, I hope you'll join us next time.